colour can help expand your mind by taking your neurological pathways into completely new places.
If you feel connected to a colour and you use that colour in your marketing, for example, that could change who you're attracting to your business.
Absolutely.
G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Level Up. This is going to be another cracking episode today. I'm super excited about this. I've actually been looking forward to it. I went and got changed, so you'll notice that I'm actually wearing a different shirt to what I normally wear on my podcast. Look, the lady we have with us today, I met at a JT Fox conference earlier in 2024. And we were standing outside and we just bumped into each other. We said g'day and we asked each other why we were there and what we did. And this lady really intrigued me. So big warm welcome to Deborah. How are you, Deborah?
Very well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for wearing the same shirt.
No, well, I guess to give people a little bit of an insight, I didn't want to introduce you about what you do because, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure on the terminology and things. But can you explain to us a little bit about what you do, and then we'll go into why we connected?
Yeah, sure. So I don't even know where to begin with that, but cutting a very long story short, I work with colour and light and the senses, the brain, the neurological pathways, just in helping to expand consciousness on the planet, to help people find a flow within their life to actually really be a better person and make a better world, basically. And I work with colour and light and scent and sound and a whole number of things that are just a little bit outside of our normal day-to-day thinking.
Yeah, I love it. And I think this conversation is going to be awesome. I know some of the paths we're going to go down, but to, I guess, give people a bit of an insight, can you tell me, like, when you looked at my shirt, because I think I asked you, so what do you do? And you asked me why I was wearing this shirt, and I said, one of my businesses, Live Life Build, is a major sponsor of the Trademark guys who make these shirts for mental health.
Yeah.
So these are custom shirts that our members get. And you said, well, let me tell you a little bit about you.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh,
well, I can repeat it from what I can see here, but colour has its own vibration and carries with it a lot of information. So basically, looking at the shirt that you're wearing, the turquoise energy is very much like, well, who am I in relation to where I want to be in the world? What's my own unique specialty, and how can I express that uniqueness? How can I express from the feeling side of being rather than from the head side of being? And how can I actually create that space for others to do that? So the reds are about being able to, I think you said it was sort of like a pink. So it's like bringing a little focus on how it is that we live in the world, where we put our energy, where we put our focus, and being really passionate about what it is that we're doing, and moving away from frustration or anger into a sense of allowing and creating a lot more loving environment, and allowing that each individual being has got that access to find their passion and bring their passion forward. And the darker blues are about being able to find the right words to express that. And certainly within that mental health field, I think a lot of people, it's not that they're not feeling, it's just that they're so overwhelmed with all the feelings, they don't know where to start with those basic levels of communication, because things are thrown so far out of context sometimes. So the blue helps us find a peaceful way of communicating within a context about what we're actually trying to say. And so that was that pretty much like it, like paying attention to the details of how you do what you do rather than why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, and look, so when Deborah told me that on the day, she had no idea what Live Life Build was all about.
Yeah.
And then when I said to her that Live Life Build, like, I'm on a mission to create a new building industry, and we help builders run successful, sustainable, profitable building businesses and give them a comfortable place to be vulnerable and all those types of things.
Yeah.
It just ties in with exactly what you just said then. And look, I've always been a little bit, I guess, I don't know enough about it, but I've always thought that colours do mean a lot, and they play a big part in, like, especially when someone sees a logo for a business. Like, I think the colour plays a huge part in how your business gets represented.
Absolutely. I think it's really, and so too does the house. You can have different color schemes within each of the rooms to help evoke certain moods, you know. I guess where I lean towards it in a most juicy way for myself is that you don't know what you don't know. And in my mind, years ago, I heard, you know, we only use 10% of our grey matter basically. And I wanted to learn how to use the extra 90%. So colour can help expand your mind by taking your neurological pathways into completely new places, new spaces. And like our body is beyond just this physical field. Okay, this doesn't actually work if you don't believe that there is something more and that there is something more to the magnetics and the electrics and the energetics of our bodies. It's going to fall
Yeah.
flat for those that just think this is all there is.
Yeah.
But for those that do believe that there's a bit more, our body is like this massive filing cabinet, and all of our experiences have been stored in different areas related to colour that we're drawn to. So if we've had a past experience of, say, I'll take an easy one as like anger and red. You know, most people could see red relating to anger, but also red could represent the flush in the face in passion, but it also could be embarrassment. It also could be shame. We don't actually know. And it also could be someone who's completely lackluster and don't have those things in their life, and also don't feel very grounded in what they're doing, or feel very grounded in what they're doing. So just even being able to question yourself on that level, well, what's my relationship to the red? If you're drawn to it, you can actually feel safe going, I don't have to have it as this frustration anymore. I actually can turn it into that lovely pink that you've got on, which is allowing all those things and softening of that anger and frustration, and allowing each person to be feeling, you know, involved, seen and belonging. Like that's a big difference, but it's all within that one colour ray.
So the colours, so does it work both ways? Like
Mm-hmm.
if you feel connected to a colour and you use that colour in your marketing, for example, um, that could change who you're attracting to your business. Is that right?
Absolutely. And I think it's a really important point to kind of delve into who you want to be in order to attract those customers to you. Because if you're not attracting those customers, then yes, colour can tweak your messaging in some way. But I think it's also important you're in alignment with it. So if
Yeah.
you feel like you're in alignment with what it is that you're putting out there, so your core beliefs are based on your strong value system, then there's a really clear message. So I think knowing a little bit about what each of the colours means, you can tweak then what marketing branding would work exactly for you to send out that message that you are looking for, or
Yeah,
that
it's
type
on.
of clientele.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. So, just before we started recording, Deb was talking about relationships, and anyone that listens to the podcast, like I bang on about it all the time. I think relationships are the most important things we have, and whether it's with a client, with your wife, with your kids, with your team members, your contractors, like I think they're very powerful things, and
Mm.
like I got no reason, like no understanding why, but like I literally turned around, saw you, said hello, we started chatting, and then I was intrigued for the rest of the day after you told me about the colours. And yeah, obviously reached out and wanted to get you to come on the podcast to talk about this sort of stuff. So
Mm.
I don't know, I find my journey that I'm on just absolutely amazing. It blows my mind to think that I'm going down some of the paths I'm going down, because I feel like so many people are just living day to day. They're not
Yeah,
thinking outside the box.
yeah.
They might reach out to some marketer and the marketer says, "Hey, go with these colours," and off they go and they do that. And
Mm.
like we got to dig deeper into things. We got to figure all this stuff
Yeah.
out.
I think it's really important because you can get in a rut, you know, and people might relate to the fact that you can find colours that you absolutely love, and they'll be your favourite colours. That'll be what you lean on, and that actually will reflect a lot of what your personality is. And there are colours that you completely cannot stand. You know, I personally have had quite a bit of shock and trauma in my life and over my extended adulthood. And when I first became attracted to the colors, I could not stand orange. It was the one color that just made me feel ill. Well, it happens to be the color that holds all of the shock and the trauma. So it's taken 10 years to find some blissful insight into that. But it's where to start with relationships. It's like, I think it's the only point for being alive, really, isn't it? To have a great relationship with you, with something beyond you, with those around you. And, I'm laughing because you've got that turquoise color on. And if I can tell you a little story, hopefully people can relate to it. So,
Yeah.
does everybody remember when they've fallen in love? This is like a very turquoise coral energy where you're suddenly part of humanity, but you feel special and unique. And you can hear birds tweeting. You finish each other's sentences. Your hands reach over the salt at the same time. There's a little giggle as you top someone's glass up with wine. This is connecting us to a field called the light field. And not only that, that love spills over to other people in general. You see love everywhere. You can see love in the trees, in the flowers, in the birds and the bees. And then, a few years down the track, it's like, who the hell is this person? I can't even understand you, and I've told you 3 times what we're talking about. We are so disharmonious that we've fallen out of that field of turquoise and coral energy, and we've moved into the patterns that keep us stuck. See, turquoise is curious and growing and wants to know more and wants to find that individual unique expression, which is pretty much what you've just said. Relationships are important because you're like curious to know how other people do things. And what can happen is we can atrophy. We're like, okay, we've now got the girl or we've got the guy, and after a few years there's no more curiosity, there's no birds tweeting. It's sort of like we've created these patterns which become very difficult to break. And so the benefit of being able to explore your color field and know yourself and know how you relate to each of the colors that are specifically related to sort of the body area, is the colors of the rainbow, and relates to many different ancient systems that reflect that back. But I find it's an easy one for guys and girls to grok because there's no judgment in it. You're drawn to a color. Now, who's looking at the rainbow and saying, hey, yellow, get out of that bloody rainbow. You don't deserve to be there, because you wouldn't. The rainbow is beautiful because it's of all of its colors. We have all of those colors in and around our being. And I think becoming a whole person is being able to have a relationship with every single one of those resonant colors and the benefits or the positive that you can find in each one of those colors. And then you can then start to have that kind of an interaction with family and spouses and business. But if you are avoiding certain colors and certain areas of your energy field or certain traumas that you can't bear to go and heal, that's just going to actually stay like an incomplete circuit within.
I wasn't expecting it to go down the relationship like that sort of path, but I'm pleased we did, because I think that's going to help a lot of our listeners out. And look, even for me, it's, look, I don't know what the universe is telling me, but it's funny that these conversations come up, because my wife and I have been having a lot of conversation about this lately, and I've been really I've been really, I don't know, I'm just becoming more and more aware, and I'm like, I have so many sayings I live by now, but like I love Grant Cardone's saying, like, nothing happens to you, it all happens because of you. Like, but I am taking really seriously trying to hold myself accountable every single day, and like, so I'm constantly asking myself, am I being the best boss, the best employer, the best husband, the best father? And it's always no. Like, there's always room for improvement. But like you just touched on, like I've been talking about that a lot with my wife. Like, that spark sort of goes, like and exactly like you just said, like when you first meet each other, you can't wait to be with each other. It doesn't matter how busy you are, you always make time. It doesn't matter how tired you are, like, you always get involved. Like, there's no excuses. And then over time, you get comfortable, and then you have kids, and then you get busy at work, and then everything just becomes an excuse. And so I'm really conscious at the moment about trying to put more effort in, trying to organise date nights. And look, I'll put my hand up. They're not happening very often, but I'm constantly getting more and more aware of it, and they will get closer and closer together. But how does that, like you just said, that it's all to do with the colours.
Yeah.
So how do I? Because this is going to resonate with a lot of blokes, I guarantee you. Like
Yeah.
how, and possibly females, I guess. But
For sure.
how, like, and you were saying that you need to be this full field
Yeah.
of colours. Like, how do you work on? How do you do that?
Yeah. Well, there is no red pill. There is no quick fix, but there is
Yeah.
certainly joy in the journey. And it does begin with understanding we are more than just this physical body. We've got an electromagnetic field, which is also being interfered with by many other things beyond us, the 5Gs, the microwaves, road rage, any of those things. That's a field that we interact with. There's an energetic field beyond that, which is about mastery in this lifetime. All of this is called the light body. And when we get really bogged down into humanity and into the chores and into the world and literally just into surviving, we're close into the body. Like, I've worked so hard, sometimes I've just collapsed at night. There's no way I want to have a conversation. But if we are looking to the future, if we spend a few moments each day just discussing a colour, like one of the things I could relate this to is women have a strong connection to the emotional field and probably the spiritual field and have a bigger picture or a panoramic awareness of what's going on. Men have a little bit more of I'm focused on getting this activity done, and this is the way I'm going to get it done. And they don't have the panoramic awareness to pick up on the subtleties that are going on in the field. So it leads
I'll put my hand up. That's me.
An explosion of energy that comes up because we didn't make that connection really quickly. And I think I read somewhere the other day, it takes 8 minutes to make a difference. So, but of course, you're going to have to find the playing field that you're going to play this game on. And then you're going to have to agree on some of the ground rules. And so with colour, it's fairly easy. We can break that up into, well, what do you feel about red? What do you think about red? What do you believe is a spiritual principle about red? And how are we living in this physical world within red? You know, eventually this conversation becomes easier. But when you come home from work late at night and you've been go all day on the machines and there's a lot of brain power, and you walk into a hot emotional mess who hasn't yet decided what it is and needs actually to speak for a long time before we get to the point about what it is that's disturbing us, you know, the patience can run thin, and then you're either going to go and grab a beer so you can tolerate it, or you're going to actually, you know, want to fix it immediately to stop it happening.
Well, look,
we go out for dinner or go out to the shed because that's something easier. So, like, if we can encourage each member of the party to begin to become more responsible. So this is a really quick and easy tip for the listeners, right? And it's to do with suffering. And suffering, according to the Buddha and a number of other wise, famous people, is, you know, wanting what you don't have, having what you don't want, and not knowing the difference. If you can unlock that pattern, you can actually then, you know, ask yourself, I want what I don't have. And this is a blue thing. And it's about taking that in-breath. And we're always going for the in-breath because we want something more. But you can't always have an in-breath. You've got to have an out-breath.
So well, that's social media, isn't it? We're all scrolling through social media
absolutely
and thinking we want what we don't need.
Exactly. And so if we're able to cultivate the art of detachment and go, okay, well, do I really need that in this moment? And if the answer's no, if we can cultivate the art of detachment, you may well just get what you want. So if I put that into a couple scenario, somebody wants conversation, somebody needs to know, someone needs to have the answers, needs to be understood, needs to be heard, needs to have that interaction. Someone else is like, hang on a minute, I've just been doing this all day, my head's not there, you know. If we can learn how to find the dance between, do you really need the conversation now? or what is it that we need to converse about? If we can if we can actually well, let me say, if we can say, if you don't need it right now, could we do that in 15 minutes and be true to your word? Then you can find a way out of it.
Yeah.
And you can find a way of harmonizing and the person feels heard. Now, if we look at the other one, having what we don't want, we're pushing away. Resistance. I just can't deal with this, and you might get red and push away, and the energy is all like, no, I don't want to have this right now. If we can cultivate the art of going, let me just relax and allow it to be what it is without attaching any of the stories to it, right? Because what happens is we'll walk in and all of a sudden there's that wall of red, and then we start to remember every time it's been said before and all of the other things, and we make up what it could be about, but we don't know. Really, it seems like a similar pattern. So if we can just cultivate the art of, let me give you a hug, and I'll come back to the chat in a minute. It could just be that sometimes that red is the physical need for just a hug. No words, just a hug. And the yellow, of course, is the exciting times that we have that are talking between the red and the blue, which is all around digestion, it's all around fears, anxieties, but it's also around fun and laughter. So if you can bring some fun and laughter into some of those moments. Now, I'm certainly not suggesting anyone sit there and laugh at the other partner. That's going to go down very well not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome, and I'll definitely take some of that on board. And look, that's an area I'm trying to pull myself up on, because I'm the one that's like, I don't give them space to talk. Like I'm always trying to give an answer, but they don't want the answer all the time. Like you said, they just want a hug, or they just want you to. Just like my wife just wants me to listen.
Yeah.
So I've had to learn that just shut up.
Yeah.
Just listen.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a good little anagram you said before. Is like, why am I talking? Is wait. If you can just remember with wait, often the partner will just talk it out, and at the very end get to the point as to what it was. And it might be something crazy, like you didn't take the rubbish out yesterday, but it's just pounded on a lot of things. And in my mind, I don't always know what it is, because we're so attached as a female to the emotions or a sense or a feeling that's not actually manifested into what that means yet. And men are often more logical and need the written plan to understand how to work backwards. And I'm sure this could show up also with buildings, where you've got, incredible clients who come along and they've got one thing very clearly in their mind, and